after that little intro that's going to pop up.
Okay.
And then once
I
they
don't see
show
it.
our faces
Okay.
again.
Got it.
Here we go. 5, 4, 3.
Good afternoon, Team Edwards, and welcome to another town hall, our weekly town hall here at the Center of the Aerospace Testing Universe, Takata 2. I am Colonel Matt Kaspers, the new Vice Wing Commander here at the 412 Test Wing, and I'm excited to be here with Chief Ward Swanigan for my first town hall here at Edwards. I've only been in the seat here not even 60 days,
Right.
as I was looking at the calendar.
But it seems like it was little or nothing. It goes so fast.
It has gone by just a flash, and it has been awesome getting out there across the wing. I know I'm certainly impatient. I keep wanting to get out there and meet everybody. Every time I get out there, I realize just how big, how massive the wing is. It has been awesome getting out to meet those folks. But earlier this week, had an opportunity to host the newcomers briefing on behalf of Brigadier General Higer,
Yes.
which was an awesome opportunity to get to meet the newest faces here at Takata 2 here at Edwards Air Force Base. But also had an opportunity to host a WSA all-call just yesterday. And one of the things that they reminded me there is you've got to remember to introduce yourself. Because even though I've only not even been here 2 months, I keep forgetting that it feels like quite a long time already, and I need to introduce. So again, this is my first town hall. Colonel Matt Kaspers. I should let you know where I'm coming from. So I am a flight test engineer. So I'm a graduate of United States Air Force Test Pilot School right down the street. But I've spent most of my time in the Air Force in flight test, but also in program management, in the SPOs and things of that nature. And I'm just coming off of a joint tour at Fort Meade, where I had the opportunity to work with some really interesting folks and do some really interesting missions. But so that's kind of me in a nutshell professionally. My family has joined us here at Edwards Air Force Base, my wife Sally, and then all 3 of our kids. So we are deeply embedded here in the community here at Edwards Air Force Base. Each one of my children, the spread in the ages are such that I've got a high schooler, one at Branch, and then one at Bailey as well. So that's who I am, and definitely looking forward to getting out and meeting the rest of the wing, and looking forward to meeting the folks that we have here. So we have a pretty interesting program set up for today. We've got the Warrior of the Week. We're looking forward to meeting them. Then we've also going to talk about the upcoming POW MIA Remembrance Week, and then close it off by chatting about our next quarterly awards event.
Yes, sir. So it's funny how we're already in September. Obviously, we were out last week, but we're already at 9 September. And yeah, like I said, it goes by so fast, but it's awesome to finally get a chance to do this with you. I think I've done this with everybody except Colonel Manning. I don't think we've done one together, but I've obviously with the boss and Colonel Gordon when he was here. So now this is our first time together. So welcome to your first town hall.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I think now this time is probably about time to introduce our Warrior of the Week.
Yes, sir.
So we've got Senior Airman McLean here with us. So Rico, if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about yourself, where you work.
And then, yeah, maybe what brought you on as the Warrior of the Week this week.
The other person.
Stand by.
Well, I'm Senior Airman McLean. I work over at Bioenvironmental, over at the Annex, and what brought me in today was mostly ALS. I went through Airman Leadership School, and I was able to win the John Levitt Award there. So
That's a big deal. You don't sound like it's a big deal, but that is astronomical. So
Thank
you
you.
should be very proud of that.
thank you.
An extraordinary achievement for sure. The Levitt Award for ALS accounts for both the peer evals, but also instructor hallmark of leadership and academic scoring. So it is really that whole person, whole airman concept. So what, Rico, what can you tell us a little bit about what is a day in the life for you over at OMRS?
Over at OMRS, I'm more over the environmental program.
Okay.
So I'm working more on water, and my lieutenant above me is mostly doing a lot of the heat stress stuff. But my day to day is just kind of scheduling, getting everything going, and then going out to different sites and seeing what's going on with the water and things of that nature. And then when it's not about environmental, I'm doing industrial hygienist stuff. So going out to different shops. We're more preventative medicine. So we're just making sure that you're not going to the doctor. So we make sure that you guys are taking the proper precautions when it comes to wearing the right PPE or just making sure that you guys are following your training as it goes.
Awesome. Well, looking at your goals and your hobbies, it's awesome to see a senior airman that's already talking about financial freedom. And it says that you also you do research for a hobby. That's not normal. So can you elaborate on what it is you research and your goals for financial freedom?
Initially, I think psychology got me into just learning. I loved everything around psychology and philosophy. But then as I got to this base, I started to realize that I love spreadsheets. So then that's how I kind of got into the business aspect. And then learning I love numbers kind of just like catapulted me into just trying to figure out how can I make this spreadsheet do what I want. And then I started getting into a little bit of stocks. So then that kind of led more into the financial freedom. So then when it comes to the research aspect of just, I love to learn. So I think that's why I did so well at ALS. It was more of just a learning atmosphere. So it was something I genuinely love to do. So on a day to day, I'm researching anything from how to buy a home to like the different types of loans to things such as like the new upcoming Neuralink stuff when it comes to like Elon Musk and just things of that type of nature.
That's awesome. Very interesting.
That's a really awesome skill. You know, when you love to learn, you can be a lifelong learner. I mean, we really all are lifelong learners. It's really how much do we embrace it. So it's awesome that you found that that's a passion of yours. So when you say you really enjoyed the spreadsheets, are you really into data and quantifying your research?
When it comes to quantifying my research, I wouldn't necessarily know how to start with that. I just know that I like my numbers to do what I want them to do. So I'll write down on a piece of paper my idea for what I want the spreadsheet to do, and then just try to see how I can make it do what I want it to do. So I think that's what I like about numbers the most is they're pretty solid, and then just guide them.
We're going to have to find a way to leverage those skills
Right.
while you're rocking over in the med group. That's some
Yeah, that's
untapped
extraordinary.
talent right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, it sounds like you're really getting after being able to make those tools work for you to get the answers and the insights that you're looking for. I see also that you have a goal of becoming self-employed. Are you planning on, working in either the psychology or pivoting on your interest in data and research?
When it comes to the self-employment, I have a couple family businesses that I am trying to pursue. And more or less, my wife and my mother-in-law have their own businesses, and they kind of need like the supervision level where they're the great technicians of it, but I'd like to help them kind of push it along in a different direction where it can be bigger because they have endless potential, and I just want to be able to help them when it comes to that.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's extraordinary.
I think he said he had questions for us too, sir. So I don't know if you're ready for that.
I'm ready. Shoot.
I'm not sure I'm ready. I mean, this guy can make numbers do things on spreadsheets.
I hope we're not going to have to do public math.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
So when it comes to the questions, I can offer one to each of you and then one for both of you.
Okay.
Colonel Casper, what is something you want to leave others with every time you interact with them?
Mostly, I want folks to, when I interact with people, just person to person, I certainly want to make sure that they feel heard. So, regardless of that, what the conversation may be about, making sure that I am listening, not just hearing, but listening to what they're saying, internalizing that, updating my thought processes and my experience in the world based on their experiencing, but on their life experiences, and really just making sure that I am seeking to understand first, and making sure that people walk away with that understanding or that feeling that I heard them.
Yeah, perfect. And then for you, Chief, I do have the question: what's your go-to piece of advice that you give to those you see are a bit lost in life?
That's a good question. go-to advice for people who are lost in life? You know, I really haven't had to advise many people that are lost in life aside from myself and those that are around me. And um, I guess I would start by letting them know that they have to find what their purpose is, what drives them, what motivates them to do what it is that they do. I think coming into the Air Force, it was an easy transition for me because a lot of the things within the core values just kind of align with my life and my faith, and that has kept me centered, and it has served me well to cultivate those things, to continue to learn, as we said before, and then share that so that other people are doing that for themselves. And since I've been in this job, I recognized that a lot of our airmen, to put it in an airman context, are focused on the things that are Air Force, that are in the blueprint, if you will, talking about how to be the best airman, you know, what it is that the Air Force is, what our mission is, you know, all the things that go with that. And the Air Force has done a tremendous job on putting that together, so that those airmen know how to be the best airmen that they can be. But what I often try to do is make sure that they remember to cultivate the U-print while they're working on that blueprint, and look within, and you know, make sure that if they're passionate about something, that they're working those things, that they're pursuing their dreams and their goals, kind of like what you're doing, despite the fact that their career field has them doing something else. And so making sure that that's happening in parallel while they're serving. And you know, the Air Force, it was different when I joined, and it's going to continue to change and be different as generations go through it. And so when people find themselves lost in their careers, I always have them to look at where they are and remember why they joined, and make sure that they can tie what they do to their unit's mission, to the wing's mission, to the Air Force mission, and on and so forth. And so if you're ever lost, you need that guide and that compass, whether it's on the professional side or the personal side. So if someone can list out why they do what they do and know who they are, and make sure that they are focused on doing what they love, doing what drives them, they will always have that reference point. And the same thing goes on the professional side of things. If you're lost in your career and you're not sure which way to go, making sure that you are passionate about your role and doing your part to contribute, and just keeping those things in check. I won't, you know, I can go on, but I'll cut it there. I think that answers the question, or at least I hope so.
Very well put. Thank you very much. So my final question for the both of you: what is more rewarding in both your opinions? Following one's passion, diving into self-reflecting personal growth, or living a selfless life aimed towards the altruistic benefits of others?
Following your passion, reflecting on self-growth,
Or living a selfless life aimed towards the altruistic benefit of others?
selfless.
What was the first one? Following your passion?
Yes.
And then what was the second part of the question?
Diving into a path of self-reflecting personal growth.
Okay.
You did your
Okay.
homework. You made
Yeah.
sure you had this
These
laid
are
out. This
Awesome
is,
questions.
yes, they are.
Really good.
I think they kind of intersect each other, in my opinion. Kind of like I was just talking, you know, always learning. So that's getting on the reflecting on self-growth, tying that to your passion and doing what you love and what drives you. All of that rides on the fact that we are here to lead others and be examples for others, being selfless and serving. So again, service has been naturally aligned with what I'm about anyway. So ultimately, it's serving outside of self, and doing your part to either make a difference for someone around you, or make a difference in the world. So I would say, I don't know that you can have any of them without the other, but that's just my quick answer.
And what was the question? What's most important to us as individuals,
What's more rewarding?
or more rewarding?
Rewarding.
Okay, so that's a tricky question. I like Chief. I think that, from a personal, what is personally rewarding for me, Matt Caspers, certainly I am lucky in that my passion has definitely been service to others. Serving, having the greatest privilege to be able to serve in the Air Force and be allowed to continue to serve. So that is very rewarding for me personally. I think, though, what I would tell others is you've really got to look both into yourself and look at each one of those, because each one of those you can't really excel or reap the rewards essentially from each one of those individual paths, because they aren't really stovepipes. They are all interconnected. You really probably, you will likely struggle, or it has been my experience, if you fail to dive in and do some introspection and self-growth. You can quickly deplete yourself and not be able to serve others or be able to follow your passion. So there is a level and a moderation between each one of these, and sometimes they are in tension, and sometimes they are in a synergy where they are mutually reinforcing each one of these three components. But I guess I think you get also, and to say how it is mutually reinforcing, you're going to have to do some diving introspection to determine what your passions even are, and if you're going to be able to to put yourself towards an altruistic service purpose, right? And whether or not that's going to be rewarding for you as an individual. So I think at least there is some prerequisite there. So I think at the end of the day, for me, I'm lucky in that I am rewarded through all three of these. But certainly, the passion reinforcing service. So for those, that's what rewards me, and I think I'll cut it off there.
Yeah, and just one last thing on that. I think if you've ever experienced someone reaching back to you after not even knowing that you made a difference in their lives, if you've ever felt that, you're going to want more of that, and you're going to feel obligated to work on yourself to improve upon the example that you are, and it'll become a passion. At least for me, that's how it's gone. And so, it's cool that you're thinking about these things and you're challenging people to do this, because that's part of the U-print, in my opinion. So good on you. Oh, we got to get him out of here. He's making us think.
No, this is really good. I appreciate this level of critical thinking and really thought-provoking questions on a Friday afternoon. So,
Yeah, thank you.
Airman McLean, thank you very much for bringing these questions and for coming on today to share your experience and let the wing and Takata 2 get to know you. So we appreciate that.
You have any parting thoughts?
Nothing particular. Just thank you both for your time, and your insight is very helpful for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. So, sir, while you move on and get ready for the next segment, I'll just remind the audience that if there are any questions or comments that they would like to bring to our attention, the number's at the bottom of the screen, as usual, 707-412-8922. Please let us know what's on your minds.
Yeah, so as we get swapped out, we're going to next be talking with Tech Sergeant Wandry, and he's going to let us know what we've got planned for next week with the POW MIA Remembrance Ceremony.
Right. Thank you, Colonel. So yes, next week is the POW MIA Remembrance Week. It's a big event, and not to kind of overstate things, right? This is a nationwide event that goes on. The Pentagon has a big ceremony that they hold every year, right? Started back in 1979 with President Carter, and every president after that since has proclaimed on the third Friday of September, right? It's National POWMI Remembrance Day. Okay, we're starting off this week or next week on Monday, the 12th of September. We've got the 5K run walk. Okay, and there's also members that will be doing kind of like a ruck march as well. Right, it's to remember those POW MIAs It's going to be at the corner of Rosamond and Jaeger Boulevard. Parking will be at the Base Theater, Building 2660 and Building 2670. Okay, so members can be in uniform or tasteful running gear. Water, Gatorade, and fruit will be provided afterwards.
What's the kickoff time?
So the kickoff time will be 0800
Okay.
for that. Okay. Following that, we have our honorary guest, Colonel Brazelton. Okay, he's going to be doing a day in the life over at the museum on the 13th of September from 08 to 09:30. Okay, so you get to hear his story from his time as a POW during the Vietnam War, right, as well as his historic career, right. And then after that, we have on Wednesday, 14th of September, we have the actual remembrance dinner. Okay, it's going to be over at Club Muroc from 1700 to 2000. Okay, RSVP is required. We're only accepting Venmo. And then if you want to, contact Tech Sergeant Jessica Stainbrook for registration. The last day will be this coming Monday, 12th September.
Do you have any contact information for her, or do they just email her?
They can just email her. I think that'd probably be the best.
Jessica Stainbrook?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, so we've had the whole AFSA chapter here, as well as the team that we've got of our SEM members. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to kind of highlight them.
Please,
We've been
please
doing
do.
a lot of work in the background scenes. So we have Tech Sergeant Johns, Tech Sergeant Griffin, Miss Brittany No, Tech Sergeant Stainbrook, Master Sergeant Smith, and Master Sergeant Merriweather have all played a big part in getting this event together with getting Colonel Brazelton here for the event, getting all the different tours for him, as well as the day in the life that hopefully everybody can come out and see. We've got 50 seats, but once they run out of seats, they can still kind of stand up to at least hear his story.
That's awesome. So kudos to the team for putting everything together. This is always a good event. Every base that I've been to every year, there's some type of run, walk, ruck, or a combination of all of them, and dinners and different things like that. And so good job on everybody that are doing this thing. If I'm not mistaken, you also have a POW patch that you may have been selling. I don't recall, but was there a wear date? What's the goal for that?
So for that, yes, as we speak, actually, Sergeant Merriweather is at the BX. He's selling the shirts and patches for those. I don't have the exact price off the top of my head, but you can go to the at the front of the BX. He'll be right there selling the shirts and patches, as well as Monday before the run march. We'll have a little AFSA booth set up there so you can buy those shirts and patches as well.
Good deal.
Don't believe we have. I don't believe this with AFI change this year. It got approved.
Okay. All right.
So-
We'll look into that. Thank you for that information. So
Yes,
you
ma'am.
got anything?
Just again, thank you very much to all the folks that you highlighted there who put this together. Each one of these events are really important that we carve out this time to remember the sacrifices of so many, and that number, so many, is over 83,000 that are missing from conflicts. It is a staggering number, and when you really think about it and take time to reflect on it, whether that's be through the run or the ruck as you're taking that time, or any of your own personal opportunities for reflection, it's certainly the day in the life that it's going to be a staggering to hear and to listen to Colonel Brazelton talk about that over 2,400 days in captivity.
Absolutely.
So again, thanks to the team for making sure that we have these events to remember our prisoners of war missing in action through all conflicts.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Well, thanks, Sergeant Wandrai. That was awesome. Thank you for stopping through to inform us and help us to get the word out to our audience. And so, yeah, we appreciate you. Do you have any parting thoughts for the wing or anything? Do you have any questions for us?
No, ma'am, not at this time. It's just, I'm excited for next week. Getting to see Colonel Brazelton. He's actually from here in L.A. That's where he was born. So
Wow.
for him to come back and then all the different things he did, and he was actually part of the test mission here back during his time as well. So
That's
he's really excited. We've talked to him, and yeah, he's really happy to be here. So
awesome.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week, Sergeant Wandry.
Good deal.
All right. So as we're swapping out for the next part, just again, reminder, text your questions in to 707-412-8922. Next up, we've got Master Sergeant Sipos to talk with us a little bit about the upcoming quarterly awards ceremony and making sure that we've got the appropriate amount of excitement and awareness out there for it. So Master Sergeant Sipos, what do you have for us on the planning?
Thank you so much, Colonel in Chief. I'm really excited for next week, Friday, 16 September at our base theater. It's going to be 1 o'clock, and we're going to be celebrating our second quarter award nominees. But on top of it, it's going to be our birthday, early birthday celebration, Innovate, Accelerate, Thrive, our birthday. We're 75. So that's our theme. Please come out, celebrate our award nominees, and of course, an early happy birthday to our United States Air Force.
Awesome. That is going to be good. That was an awesome. I mean, what better fitting theme? You guys did a good job there. So kudos to the mission support group for putting that together. I'm looking forward to actually being able to attend this one. I wasn't able to make first quarter, so I'm kind of excited about that. And from what I understand, there was some heavy competition for the Spirit Award. We'll see who takes home the trophy this week or next week.
Yeah, I am very excited. Looking forward to that for that birthday bash.
Mm-hmm.
18 September. Our Air Force is turning another year older, so that is fantastic. And I actually had the privilege of being out here TDY. Doing a little bit of handoff with Colonel Gordon back in May when we had the last base theater quarterly awards, and that was a really fun, totally epic celebration. So you're right,
Yeah,
Chief. That was
it had
some
been 2 years since we did an in-person events or
incredible
award ceremony. So that was like the comeback, if you will.
So they brought it strong last time. So
We'll see how this goes.
This is going to be.
I expect to be floored and blown away. But since we have you, Sergeant Sipos, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here, how long you've been here, what you like about Edwards, and or whatever you feel like, and we'll go from there.
Thanks, Chief. So I am Master Sergeant Tanya Sipos. I'm the 412th Force Support Squadron Senior Enlisted Leader. I have been here at Edwards Air Force Base for 1 year, actually last month. So really excited to be a part of TEST and Takatatu. I am a single mom. My son Jet, he's my world. And so that's just a little small part about me. Been in the United States Air Force for 14 years now and been loving the entire journey.
Awesome. So from what I understand, ma'am, you have the honor and privilege of attending the Joint Special Operations Forces Senior Enlisted Academy, which I had the honor and privilege of attending as well. So we'll have to get together sometime after this to kind of talk through what you should expect and how my experience was. But congratulations to you on that. That's going to be an awesome PME for you. It was my favorite PME of all the PMEs that we do in our careers. And so I'm happy that you get an opportunity and that we have someone representing Edwards for that.
Congratulations. That
Thank
is
you so much,
extraordinary.
Chief and Colonel. Thank you. I'm really excited. The last couple years being a part of the Special Operations community and then coming back to the Air Force and sharing that experience and then going back to my brothers and sisters in the Purple Unit. I'm excited. So thank you both for the celebration and thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for Colonel Caspers or myself, or did you have any parting remarks before you take off?
Because of your joint PME experience, Chief, actually one of your favorite things that you got to read during that assignment process, what was a book that you got, or maybe a piece of topics that you remember that stuck with you from your PME experience?
That's awesome that you would bring that and have me reflect back on that. Overall, like there was 6 months of distance learning. So we had assignments and papers due before we did the 2-month in residence portion at MacDill. And I there were so many things that I just had no clue about at my level as a comm troop in the squadron at Hurlburt at the time. And so we were diving into a bunch of doctrine and just looking at things from a whole of government approach, as opposed to, just an Air Force, squadron level or wing level perspective. And being able to have a Green Beret on my right, a Navy SEAL on my left, and like all these bad A's, jokers that like kick doors down, and here I am, just a little comm airman. Like, I was just like, that was the best PME that I ever had, and I learned so much. I got a new appreciation for what it is that they actually do, and to be able to sit next to the people that are going into harm's way and saving folks and protecting our homeland. That was just, for me, that was, it was everything. So I'm looking forward to you coming back and talking about how much you enjoyed it, because it is definitely going to be enjoyable. You're going to learn a lot. Like I said, stop by. We'll talk about all the things that you're going to get to listen and be a part of, so that you kind of go in there knowing what you should take back when you come back. And so as far as books, no book titles come to mind at the moment, but I have so much material that I frequently reference from my time when I was there. And at the time, I can't remember the exact year, but it talked about how there is this need for an early to need construct, in that we promote our people and then we prepare them at each level of PME. And the sergeant major at the time, command sergeant major at the time, had this initiative where we need to prepare our members earlier in the stages of their career. A master sergeant shouldn't be looking at a UMD for the first time. And I'm going back to the examples that were there at the time. And just little things like that, where if we prepare our folks earlier, they're going to be that much more prepared when it's time for them to actually execute in a leadership role. And so that whole of government piece, as well as the early to need, it really changed my perspective. And when I got back, I was able to look at the levels of each of my airmen in the unit and see what we actually give our folks at each of those echelons, those tiers, and figure out what we need to push down to get to them sooner. And I love that Chief Bass, CMSAF, has looked at how we do some of our PME, and she's probably getting some of that from the joint community. So now airmen are going to have these prerequisites before they go to ALS and before they go to NCOA. So kind of getting after what I'm talking about. So like I said, we'll chat about it. I appreciate you giving me that question, because it's bringing back a whole lot of memories, and I gotta hit up some folks on WhatsApp, my Green Beret brothers or Navy SEALs and whatnot. So it'll be good.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
I'll just pile on. Just going to joint PME, and heck, just going to PME in general is such an awesome privilege, to be able to have that time carved out and do that kind of that deep thinking and thinking outside of your specific functional role. But having the opportunity to go to joint PME and get to learn from our sister services, and like you mentioned, Chief, the whole of government, the other folks that you have there, from whether it be from state or even our allies and partners. It's just been it's an extraordinary experience. So that's really kudos to you, Master Sergeant Sipos, and I hope you really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's it's a hard PME to get into. That is so for you to get selected, you should be proud, and you should know that you earned that right to go there. We don't just send anybody. So
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Colonel.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming over to talk with us today. We really appreciate the update on the quarterly awards, and also thanks for introducing yourself and letting us get to know you a little bit better. So appreciate that. So next up, we're taking questions from the community out there. So again, text those questions to 707-412-8922. And while we're waiting for those questions to come in, Chief, you got anything on your mind?
Well, so actually, I'll just kind of plug something that I had the opportunity to do this week. I had the privilege to go down and celebrate with the folks down at Plant 42 who did a ribbon cutting for their pharmacy kiosks. So the Script Center is now open. Folks that would normally have to come to Edwards to fill a prescription now have the option to have that picked up down there at the plant. So it's saving on gas and time, and cutting 2 hours out of a day that would normally be bogged down with that travel time. And so it was a huge milestone. Apparently that's an initiative that started 5 years ago, and so it was exciting to witness them finally crossing off the rest of the blocks to make that a reality. And definitely the folks who are going to be able to take advantage of that were excited about it. And so it was just good to get down there and help them to celebrate that. And it just talked about, or it represented the innovative things that we can do if we put our minds to it, and if we allow those ideas to rise up and take action on them. So I was excited to be a part of that.
Oh, that's awesome, Chief. Yeah, I know that's been a long time in the making, and it's extraordinary that that's off the ground and functional, and folks are using it, and it is making a big difference, right? And folks not having to come all the way out up here to Edwards Air Force Base, who are working down at Air Force Plant 42.
Yes,
But and to piggyback on that innovation piece, it is. We have a very active innovation cell here at Edwards Air Force Base, and want to continue to encourage folks to, get their ideas together and work with the innovation cell through the Excite engagements, where they can make those pitches for those good ideas, because all those good ideas don't just they don't often come from top down, right? It's that bottom up grassroots, where the people are doing their job to be able to come up with improvements. And, it's not just, newfangled technology. It is also thinking about new ways of doing things and remaining competitive.
That's right.
When you think about innovation and what innovation really is at its core, it is a mechanism for deliberately thinking about how we remain competitive, which, I know that goes right into the boss's message on compete, and where we are with our mission across our 4 combat fronts in competition, and how we can improve on each one of those combat fronts with respect to innovation and thinking about new ways to do it. And it doesn't always take millions of dollars.
That's right. Sometimes it's no cost at all or low cost. And so, I'm looking forward to the next opportunities with the Spark tanks that the cell puts on, and I'm hoping that we can actually get some airmen on that stage. It's not rank specific. Anybody can get up there, civilians, any rank in the military, officer, enlisted. So my team, or our team, I should say, is working on a mock board, if you will, to kind of prepare airmen at the lower levels for that level of engagement and being able to pitch an idea. So if you're listening and you have some awesome ideas, but you just haven't had the courage to pitch that idea on a stage, there's going to be a prep opportunity for you that you'll be able to utilize, so you can test it out and practice in front of an actual mock board, so that we know you're stage ready and you can get up there and knock them out of the park. So I'm looking forward to that.
No, that'll be really extraordinary. I'm looking forward to this whole next year and next season of innovation and Spark Tank. Speaking of innovation and kind of the natural hooks that it does have with STEM, with science, technology, engineering, and math, there's going to be a absolutely massive STEM event at the upcoming air show.
Correct.
That we have. I don't know if we have any one of the air show flyers that we can flash up there from last time, but it is that. The air show, the Open House Expo, is October 14 through 16. We really do need a countdown, a countdown clock that we can
at the
flash
bottom
up
of
the
the
bottom of the
screen.
screen, like
You
days
got
to
that, Crosby?
days to air show, because it is crunch time. It is calling all hands on deck to raise your hand, volunteer.
That's right.
I know that call is going to be going out for folks, to get that kind of granular look at what we're going to need for the help and for the volunteers. But definitely be ready to raise your hand and and help both support the STEM event, which ties back to innovation and just how we can do our job better, right? It's kind of making those long-term investments, those gains for later. For who knows how many of those folks who are going to show up here who might say, hey, that's something that we're going to be interested in, and maybe become future airmen, and I mean big A airmen here that are working in the center of the aerospace testing universe. I see we have the website down there, avairshow.com. So make sure to go over to the website, check that out, get the information there. Also on the One app. So go to the Edwards Air Force Base app, and you can get information there. So again, text your questions, 707-412-8922 if you've got questions for me or for Chief. But while we're waiting for those questions to come in, I'll bring up, since I know it has been a topic on this forum, is speeding on base, and just kind of circle back to that, because I know we had Colonel Frizzell on here, as well as some other defenders, to help remind us to keep our speed under control, right? So it really is now that, and we can tell with the seasons changing, with the sun moving, you can really start to see at those times, both in the morning and in the afternoon, the sun's moving and closer aligning to our rush hour times, and also being blinding, and you're looking right at it, up and down Fitzgerald there,
Right.
coming and going, and I know that we've had fatalities here on base as a result of automobile accidents. So it is serious. I was dropping my daughter off at school this morning, and she asked me to stop at the corner so she could get out and cross the street ahead of time. Granted, it was a little bit earlier than normal. I said, why are you doing that? Well, it turns out that she's got a habit pattern of trying to cross the street, wait for her time, because it's kind of like playing Frogger over there.
Oh,
So
wow.
we just need to be mindful, right? I know being mindful of our speed just all around base, especially around the schools and housing. We, just looking at some of the last speeding tickets, there's been some excessive speed out there.
Yes.
We really need to get it under control. So again, it can't just be our defenders out there who are always doing that. We have to set the example, and mentor the folks around you. Talk to folks, let them know it's just not okay to speed here on base.
No, that was pump the brakes, not pump the gas. So slow down. It seems like since that campaign, our numbers have gone up, and so we've got some extreme averages for speed, excessive speeding beyond the actual speed limit itself. And so we just have to continue to police each other, set that cruise control. That helps me, helps my spouse. So yeah, we just all have to do our part. And if you're not tracking, there are people who take note of license plates going through the gate, on and off the base, and they report those to the gate shack or the security forces shacks to follow up on the repeat offenders or the folks that are doing that. So if that's you, just know that if it's not a cop behind you, it still might be someone that will report you. So I would be mindful that this is about safety, and we got to all do all hands on deck approach.
Got to all pitch in. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And we definitely, like General Higer said, there's no chance that we're going to be able to even think about raising speed limits on Rosamond Boulevard until we get our speed under control.
Yeah.
So we got to be able to show we can follow the rules to start before we
Yeah.
think about asking for
Currently
more
trending in
privileges.
the wrong direction.
Right.
So
I see we have a question here. So the Base Theater has been closed. Is there any interest in showing movies again? Yes, there is a tremendous desire to show movies again. One of the things that obviously we've had COVID and the mitigations there with respect to the theater, but now with some of those restrictions being relaxed. But the biggest thing has been the renovations needed to complete and prepare the theater to show first run movies. So this has been a priority. I'll have to check back and we'll have to get you that answer on what the latest status is. So previously, right, it had been occupied by the centralized testing facility, but now in parallel with that, we didn't let up on the necessary renovations to be able to show those first run movies. And it's, as I understand it, is we need to get a digital projection system that's very particular to being able to make sure that the first run movies that we want to show are of the necessary quality for Hollywood to be able to allow that. So that is where we're at. It has really just been a procurement process, and it just takes time to get that kind of high-end equipment. So we can circle back on that topic and get that information out.
Yes. If you're
But-
watching MSG, phoning a friend here. Any other questions out there, please feel free. What else do we have, sir, in the meantime? Do we have anything else we want to cover down on?
I just remembered it's Friday.
It is Friday.
Yeah, so I don't know if you got any big plans for the weekend. For us, like I mentioned at the top of the hour, I feel like last weekend was the long weekend, Labor Day weekend. I feel like we finally got unpacked. So I think for me, it was the garage trying to put away the last of the things, so we're not tripping over things going in and out of the house. So hoping to just unplug for a little bit this weekend, but not going anywhere. How about you, Chief?
Same thing, sir. Sometimes I forget it's Friday too. It just goes so fast, and I sometimes forget what day it is. But my plan is to write my paper that's due on Sunday. So I gotta try to finalize that and get this master's degree off my plate. It's been long enough. So as far as doing anything special, I need to wash my car before the dealer comes to pick it up. I think if it's after a certain point of a car being dirty or going too long without getting detailed or something, I think they get repossessed. Have you heard that?
No,
I think it's
haven't
only
heard
my
that.
car.
It could be.
Okay.
If that's the
So.
case, then my car would have been repossessed already.
I think they're going to come pick it up. They're tired of me prolonging that. But anyway, I don't have anything big. Yeah, I mean, I'm spontaneous anyway, so I don't have to have plans in order to end up in Vegas or San Diego or, you know what I mean? I just get up and go. I'm not a planner like that, so I never know what I'm going to do until we're doing it sometimes. So.
So we have another question. If someone calls in a reckless driver, is there a penalty or immediate ticket? So I think that really depends on the circumstances, but bottom line, that'll be something that you can call into the law enforcement desk or to call into the defenders, and you can give the specifics, and it depends on where they are and whether or not the defenders are going to be able to intercept that person, right? You don't want to have to actually, don't want to give chase on that. But
I think
the
at
best
the very
thing is just-
minimum, they'll notify the member that, hey, this was noted, and it be some kind of warning.
So the big thing, it really depends
know
on whether or not we can get the defenders to be able to put eyes on it happening. If in the case where it's a reckless driver immediate ticket, or you see that kind of behavior, still get that information in. It may not necessarily be a penalty or ticket, but that information can be brought to commanders, directors, chiefs, first shirts, and folks can sit that member down and have a conversation. And obviously, if it's a dependent, we can get that information back to the member as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's, again, to answer that question, it depends on whether or not the defenders actually are able to see it. We can talk them onto it, or whether it's a reference back to the commander, director, chief. For that.
Yeah, and a lot of folks, it's interesting. The boss has a very distinct vehicle that he drives. It has a star on the front of it, and people zoom right past him. And he has a mechanism to call to the gate as they're gonna beat him there. And so sometimes he'll have the gate guards hold that person at the gate till he can get up there. So I mean, you decide if you want to put yourself at risk of being warned or penalized, but I would recommend that you just slow down and do the speed limit.
Yeah, that
So.
just help everybody else out, right? That slow down, and if for nothing else, it is the rule here on base to follow that, right? So let's see what else.
Looks
I
like
see
we
we got
have.
no-
So, sir, I had the another privilege and honor to attend the first responders, in particular the fire dogs, the fire guys. 812 CES had their 9/11 Remembrance Memorial ceremony, and they did a phenomenal job. It was a really touching ceremony, as it always is, as a reminder of all the folks that paid the ultimate sacrifice on 9/11 2001. There was just a lot of effort put into that ceremony, and it came out very respectfully for the people that were recognized in that tragedy. It made all of us in the room remember where we were, if we were old enough to be alive at that time. Remember where we were on the day that those events occurred, and just really reflect on what happened, what it means to serve, what those folks were trying to do to make a difference, and how they paid the ultimate sacrifice, as I said before. 9/11 was really a turning point in my career. I was still on my first enlistment, and I had joined at a time where war wasn't the reason, and it was more about, hey, I can't afford college. I could benefit from seeing the world a little bit as I, do a tour in the military, and it really dawned on me on that day, looking at the screen, seeing what was taking place, and then seeing all the things that were happening on the base with folks gearing up to head out to go help out. And, I had a decision to make at that time as to whether or not I wanted to still be going through the motions, in it for myself, looking at the educational benefits and maybe some travel, or was I gonna step up and, no kidding, dedicate my everything, my life even, to serving and making sure that we're all doing our part to defend the nation. And so it was a tough ceremony for me, as it always is, but I think it's fitting that we do a reminder to our folks viewing out there to remember our folks that we lost on 9/11. And so I'll just say, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, Chief. Yeah, 9/11 completely changed the trajectory of this country. Yeah, similar to you, I remember, where I was right at that moment, and very similar. I had joined the Air Force and was in the process of joining the Air Force, really, roughly 8 months out from commissioning. I had joined a largely peacetime Air Force, and just overnight it completely changed. And certainly that has affected every day that I've spent in the Air Force, but more importantly, it affected those around me and my family members as well. So my soon-to-be wife then shortly thereafter deployed to Iraq, and my brother multiple times to Afghanistan. So yeah, it has been a complete change. And I think one of the things that is important, and every one of us will mark this solemn remembrance on Sunday, the 21st anniversary of September 11th terrorist attacks on the United States. We're not having a base-wide remembrance, but I ask folks to take time and personally reflect and think about that and how it's affected it, and then I think it's incumbent upon us, as we think about that and reflect upon that, now that our nation's priorities have shifted largely to the strategic competition, but there still remain, permanent effects on all of us of the effects of those terrorist attacks. So the ones that we lost on that day, and then in the ensuing military action. So it is a solemn day that really marks a massive change in the last 2 decades.
So if you know any first responders, this time of the year is usually something that's playing through their minds, either in celebration of the folks that we lost, or having been a part of the efforts to go to the various locations or deploy in the war against terrorism, whatever the case might be. Reach out or have a moment of silence, or whatever that looks like for you. The fire chief spoke up. They had several great speeches about all the things that we needed to be mindful of, but 3 things that he rattled off, or that he spoke about, that stuck with me were service, performance, and courage. And I believe he said that was like the fireman's motto, or part of it. And it just really, it causes you to reflect on what it is that you stand for, or what you fight for, or why you do what you do, how it ties to your own purpose. And so yeah, it was a great opportunity to go over there and be a part of that. And I always take that time every year, because I can just remember it like it was yesterday when it happened. So
Yeah, I think that, service and courage and sacrifice, those are certainly the words that come to mind for all those folks who when they went to work every day or on that day 21 years ago, not having any idea what was ahead of them, but yet stepped up and answered the call,
right.
And gave so much and sacrificed so much.
Absolutely.
So
it looks like we may have some information on the question regarding the theater, sir. Looks like the showing of first run movies is still in the works, so they're still trying to make progress there. The PA team, as well as the comptroller squadron, are working on the process for the upgrade that we are waiting on. So
still working it.
yeah, it's still under works. We're not going to let up. That's going to be, we may need to do a ribbon cutting for that.
It could be. Well, definitely going to pop some popcorn and head over to the theater for a movie.
Yes,
Question
sir.
would be what will we show? Will it be one of the films that have been filmed here at Edwards, like Captain
To
Marvel?
kick it off?
I mean, I know that's not a first run movie anymore, but that sure would be fun.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they'll have a lineup. They'll figure it out. It'll be good. As far as the phone a friend for the reckless drivers, only security forces members are authorized to issue 1408s and 1805s.
I don't know what a 1408 or 1805 is, but
I guess
I'm
that's
guessing
the
that's a ticket.
Yeah, that is true. I hope that I didn't misspeak and say that anybody else could do that. We're just talking about reporting license plates.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, just to clarify, I think kind of goes back to what we said, right? If we can get the defenders to see, witness, and pull over that person, that's what would be they would issue 1408s or 1805s. But again, like we said, in terms of everybody is a censor out there, that consequence may not be a ticket for reckless driving, but obviously since this is we're all airmen here, if you are, and it kind of goes, it's with any behavior, not just speeding, but if we witness inappropriate behavior, it's on us to make that correction, whether it's to pick up the trash, pull the weeds, or to call that supervisor, to call that commander, and get that information reported.
Yes, sir.
So
we got about a
Let's
minute
see.
and a
Yeah.
half. I don't see any additional questions. Last call, 707-412-8922. We're here for you. This is our mechanism. I think it's phenomenal that General Higer, I don't know too many wing commanders that make themselves accessible on a weekly basis, every duty day Friday, and or utilizing a direct line on the app to say, hey, General.
No, this is really unique. This is a unique forum. It's an awesome forum to be able to have this kind of access and direct communication with all the constituents here at Edwards Air Force Base and Air Force Plant 42. But not just the folks who live here, but in the surrounding areas, since we are live streamed on Facebook. So there are lots of folks out there who can get plugged in and be able to communicate that larger community. So it's awesome that we've had the participation and the questions today. And frankly, this was my first one of these, but it's been a lot of fun hanging out here with you, Chief, and getting to meet our members of Takatatu. So it's been extraordinary. I've had a lot of fun. Looking forward to the next time that I get to sit here with you and chat on a Friday afternoon.
I think that wraps it up, sir.
So I think that's it. We're ready to wrap it up. And thanks everybody for those who joined in live, and for those who are going to watch the replay later. Thanks for spending time with us here on this Friday afternoon for our Edwards Air Force Base Center of the Aerospace Testing Universe Town Hall. Y'all have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend.